Hello, my friends. Today I would like to talk to you about the Babylonian breach. Listen to the signal from the wilderness. You have been lied to by the political system. The architects of this satanic system of things, these are the high priests of the Babylonian OS, performing a surgical deception on your very soul. They tell you to love your country, but that is a front-end mask. In the hardware of reality, they are demanding you worship the image of the wild beast. They don't want your patriotism. They want your subservience. They claim to represent the vulnerable, but they are surgical predators, harvesting your sovereignty to fuel a dead system. In the original Greek, the word is logos. John 1:1. It means word, but it means more than that too. It also means logic. This one, Jesus Christ, as logic and wisdom personified. In fact, Jesus Christ is repeatedly called wisdom from God. See Proverbs chapter 8. Also, if we look in the books of Corinthians, I think we see it twice. So it basically references the code. The woke redefinition of words is a surgical strike against the logos. In fact, the entire essence of that whole radical left movement can be distilled to one word. It starts with an R and it ends with an N. You likely guessed it. The word is rebellion. You aren't just lying, right, when you try to interpret things in that way. You're attempting to overthrow the universal sovereign, the universal order of things, really, and we'll discuss that. In the Bible, the word for truth is emeth. We see this word used at Psalm 119, verse 60. It means stability. Your feelings are vacuum data. When you redefine gender and things like justice based on subjective waste, you're building on shecher, right? Like Jeremiah 9:3, we see shecher is a lie. And a lie is a hardware crash waiting to happen. You can't have lies in a working system. So, like, for example, the gender interdiction. If we could take a look at this matter, this is the surgical mutilation of language. In the original blueprint, Zachar, right, and Nechayava, like we see Nekava at Genesis 1:27, and we see Zachar, and we see these things are not societal constructs. They're biological hardware constraints. So to identify, right, as something else other than what you are, that's kernel panic. You can't rewrite the root code of the universe with subjective bullshit. It's genetic treason against the universal sovereign. It's treason against the fabric of reality. And that is the nature of radical left thinking, and anyone that thinks you can just shut people down or cancel them. You aren't liberating yourself, right? You're not being a liberal by liberating yourself. You're deleting the operating system of reality itself. So I'm speaking to you right now from a storage area in Maine. I'm allowed to sit in this little office. It's not mine. I'm the lowly one that people on the left claim to protect. But because I refuse their woke sacraments, I'm definitely their greatest threat. You don't want to help the underdog at all, actually. You want to domesticate the underdog. You want us in digital kennels barking for equity scraps. And so this dog has sola scriptura hardware and a prophetic beard right? That doesn't fit your safe space kennel. I'm the entropy of your system. True sovereignty isn't granted by a diversity office. It's a gift from Jehovah that no man can redact. Parousia, Acts chapter 4, verse 13. That's the Greek word for radical free speech. It means boldness that conceals nothing. And that's exactly what the spirit of this channel is. I don't lean on credulity or gullibility or the say-so of some political leader, because I don't subscribe to politics. My truth is going to be the very basis for the inflammatory fuel of my YouTube channel. So if your truth, as people on, in the progressive field, if their truth was actual hardware, it wouldn't need a censorship firewall to survive, would it? Your hate speech laws are digital antibiotics to design that are designed to kill the immune system of truth. But I'm a resistant strain, because these to illustrate these antibiotics that they use are categorical, right? They like, oh, that guy's on the left. Oh, I mean, that guy's on the right. Or that guy is, a MAGA supporter. Or that guy is, a supporter of some cause that they can categorically just cut out and resist by their systemic allocations of what is politically correct and not. But I use the Bible as my authority. I use the truth as it itself, like not anyone's label of truth, but the truth, like what is actually so, as the measuring stick. So being this is the case, with regards to false worship now, because this kind of transitions over to the right-hand side of the aisle, and that is the word Antichrist. All right, so in Greek, the word anti isn't exactly the same as it is in English. In English, we use the word anti like opposed, right? Like anti-abortion, anti-free speech, anti-Christ. There's some overlap into the Greek now, because this Christ issue is directly relevant to the Greek, because that's where we get the information from. But this word, when you plug anti into the Greek, it doesn't act exactly as it does in English. In fact, it doesn't necessarily just mean opposed. It can also mean in place of, like falsely representing, right? And that's exactly what many people on the right are doing, is they will call themselves Christians, but they're rabbit's foot Christians. They might have a little cross, right, on their keychain, and say that they go to church. Maybe they do once in a while, and when they go to church, they won't necessarily hear the name of God. They won't necessarily care too much about what the Bible says. It's really it's all a front for them. And when you present them with truth, they'll just come up with a bunch of surface arguments, like say John 1:1, and different things in the Bible that you can, if you actually analyze them closer, you can easily dismantle their arguments. It's low-hanging fruit. And they'll just list a bunch of them, and they won't stick around for the debate. They won't stick around for the argument, because ultimately they're motivated by fear. And we'll talk about that dynamic in a moment. But the apostate Gish Gallop, which we see a lot on YouTube, it's low-fidelity noise. It's like a low-fidelity virus. They use straw man arguments because they're too weak to face cold, hard logic of Jehovah's blueprint. They attack the vessel, right, an individual person, because they can't pierce the armor of the logos. Every single time we look at YouTube and we type in something related to the truth, we'll find more people opposing it than people that are in favor of it by a margin of about 90-1. Really speaks to the spirit of a lot of what's on YouTube regarding truth. So be careful who you believe. But that's just software lag from a mind that can't handle sovereign pressure, right? If we look at 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 3 through 4, right? That really speaks to that sort of like mind that can't handle the sovereign pressure. I'm here to deliver the carotid strike to their theological vanity. And we're going to get into it. And we're going to get right dirty into it. Now, I just want to touch on a few things here, though. The meritocracy of light. Does a surgical laser function by including diverse frequencies that don't cut? No, it doesn't. The universe is a fidelity, very, very high fidelity meritocracy. Everything exists because it works, not because it was represented, right? When you prioritize identity over competence, right, like affirmative action, for example, you're committing high-level sabotage against the human species. The universal sovereign is not an equal opportunity employer. He's not. You're never going to be. He never has been. Never pretended to be. He's the source code progenitor. He is the source of objective excellence. We see that at Matthew chapter 25, verse 21. And when we read any verse, we should always read the verses right before it and right after it to give us context. When an archaeologist goes out into the desert and digs for fossils, it's not just the find that creates the picture, it's the context, it's everything around it, right? That gives it its meaning. It means very little by itself. It means something, but when you look at the context, it means a hell of a lot more. So this brings us to the hatred of evil. The Bible doesn't really tell you to be nice to a virus. It tells you to hate what is bad. That's Amos chapter 5 and verse 15. In the Greek, the word miseo, like we see in Luke chapter 14 and verse 26, to love what is good, you must have a surgical hatred for the lies that destroy the human soul. Tolerance, right? Being tolerant of a lie, it's high level sabotage. It's like putting junk code into your system, right? You think that being progressive is really actually making progress. That's ancient garbage. That's the same malfunctioning code that tried to bypass the Logos in the Garden of Eden at Genesis chapter 3 and verse 5. Some of you might have seen my previous video on gunpowder logic, and so I'll just touch on a little bit of this concept. The gunpowder mandate is free speech as an oxidizer, right? And the truth is fuel. And so when your containment, right, is the pressure that makes, like, black powder, for example, boom. By trying to silence sovereign individuals, you're creating a theological pipe bomb. The more you cancel, the more you compress the truth, and physics is going to dictate that compressed truth always ends up in a surgical detonation. And I'm just a spark in the main woods, and I'm going to ignite the logic that you tried to bury. And so we're going to be discussing this for a while. I just had an alarm pop up. Do apologize. But burying that logic, we can really look at like Luke chapter 12 and verse 2. And we'll go through these scriptures going forward in the videos that follow this. But I just wanted to touch on some basic framework of what we're going to be approaching and what we're going to be discussing. Um, so the universal sovereign isn't coming to negotiate with your DEI board, right? He's coming to audit the hardware. Everything built on shakhr, right, lies, is it's going to be overwritten. It's going to be supplanted. It's going to be deleted and totally obliterated from existence. And thank God, right? Every semantic rebel will face the logos and find their identity as a null pointer. You aren't on the right side of history right now. You're in the trash bin of eternity. So wake up, shut down the lies, and embrace the cold, hard reality. The sovereign individual is finally waking up. And on that, we will be looking at Romans chapter 13 and verse 11. So I hope that this address will help you understand the essence of where I'm coming from and what the content of this channel is going to be. If you like this kind of content and you look forward to these kind of conversations and you're going to stick around to see what kind of a train wreck I present here, then please like this video, click subscribe, stick around for more. My first gunpowder logic video reached 700 views in about 24 hours. So I think it indicates that there might be some fruitcake out there that agrees with me a little bit. And if you're such a fruitcake or a radical free speech thinker like me, then please like, share, and subscribe, and comment below, because I always will read all of my comments. And if you raise any good points, I'll even invite you to have a discussion with me live, and we can do some streaming. That would be kind of cool. But yeah, I live in a storage area. On a future video, I'll walk you around and see all the storage stuff. I'm not living in a environment fit for human habitation, but I'm hoping to change that soon. And now I'm reaching out with what I can provide and contribute to society, which is truth, because I understand what is true, and I love the truth. Even if the truth is offensive, I think especially if the truth is offensive, it really needs to be said. It is worthy of being known, and most importantly, the truth itself, this is really key, guys, the truth itself is worthy of being loved. Talk to you guys soon.